Jake buys a car for $600 from a man who seems relieved to see it go. A 1998 Honda Civic hatchback, red, or something that used to be red before the sun spent 20 years removing the opinion. The left rear panel has a dent that looks like a shopping cart made a life decision. The interior smells like someone lived in it briefly, and the previous owner has left behind a pine tree air freshener, one cassette tape, and the specific anxiety that comes with a car you are not entirely sure will start tomorrow. Jake drives it home at 45 miles an hour because 60 feels ambitious, and parks it in front of his apartment, and looks at it for a long time, and feels something he cannot name yet, something that is going to cost him a significant amount of money over the next several years, and he would not change a single dollar of it. This is every rank of cartooner life, and the story of how a $600 Honda becomes the thing Jake loves most, and the thing that teaches him everything he knows about patience, skill, and the specific joy of making something ordinary into something extraordinary. Rank 1, the Garage Tinkerer. Jake watches YouTube videos for 3 weeks before touching the car. He learns what a short ram intake is, what coilovers do, why his exhaust note sounds like someone angrily shaking a coffee can full of gravel. His first modification cost $47, a cold air intake from a brand he cannot pronounce. It takes him 4 hours to install something that should take 45 minutes. He strips one bolt, cuts his hand twice, and sits back at the end looking at the engine bay thinking he has transformed the car. The car is not transformed, but Jake is starting to become something. Rank 2, the Weekend Warrior. Jake is 24. The Civic has new coilovers that he installed over an entire weekend with his friend Marcus, who knows slightly more than Jake does, which means they spend 6 hours doing something that takes a professional mechanic 90 minutes, and make 3 trips to AutoZone for parts they did not know they needed when they started. The car sits lower now. The wheels fill the arches differently, and when Jake drives it, he feels the road in a way he never felt in a stock car. Every surface, every imperfection, communicated directly through the chassis into his hands and his seat. Jake has started going to car meets on Sunday mornings, not to show off, not yet, but to look, to absorb, to understand what is possible with a platform that most people consider disposable. Rank 3, the Enthusiast. Jake is 26. The Civic has been apart more times than it has been together. He has learned to weld imperfectly. He has learned to tune imperfectly. And he has learned that every modification creates 3 new problems that require solving. The brake upgrade that required new brake lines. The engine swap that required new motor mounts. The suspension geometry that changed when the ride, height change and required alignment, that required camber adjustment, that required camber bolts that were back ordered for 6 weeks. Car modification is not a hobby. Jake understands now. It is an education delivered in frustration, paid for in parts, and redeemed in the specific satisfaction of a problem solved by your own hands. At rank 3, Jake's car attracts attention at meets, not from the people with the expensive builds. From the other rank 3s, the people who recognize the specific combination of ambition and budget constraint that produces creative solutions. Rank 4, the builder. Jake is 28. The Civic has an engine that did not come with it. A B1 8C pulled from a Japanese import. More power than the chassis was designed to handle, which means Jake has spent the last year making the chassis capable of handling it. Subframe reinforcement, upgraded hubs, a limited slip differential that cost more than the original car, and a tune that took 4 sessions on a dynamometer to get right. At rank 4, Jake is no longer working on his car alone. People bring him their cars, not professionally, not yet, just friends, then friends of friends, then someone who found him through someone who found him through someone. And Jake does the work because he loves it, and accepts whatever people offer because he has not yet realized that the skill he has built has a market value that exceeds what most people assume. Rank 5, the respected builder. Jake is 31. He has a garage now, rented, 1,200 square feet, a lift that he bought used from a shop that was closing, and a reputation in his regional car community that took 7 years to build. People tag him in builds online. People drive 4 hours to have Jake touch their cars. People show up with project cars and ask for his opinion before they start. At rank 5, Jake understands something about car culture that rank 1 Jake could not have imagined. The car is almost secondary. What the car creates is community, a specific kind of human connection built around a shared obsession with making mechanical things perform beyond their design limits. And that community, the Sunday morning parking lots, the late nights in the garage with people who drove an hour to help because that is what you do. The group chat that starts at midnight when something goes wrong on a dyno run is worth more than any modification Jake has ever made. Rank 6, the professional. Jake is 34. He does this for money now. Not exclusively, not yet, but enough that the garage pays for itself and then some. He has clients, not friends with cars. Clients, people who pay him specifically for his judgment, his taste, his hands, his experience. And Jake has discovered something uncomfortable about turning a passion into a profession. That the thing you love changes when it becomes the thing you must do. When the car you're working on belongs to someone else and has a deadline. And the client texts at 11 p.m. to ask about progress. Some of the magic relocates, not all of it, but some. And Jake learns to protect the magic by keeping one project that belongs only to him. The red Civic, still in the garage, not for sale, not for clients, not for Instagram, just his. Rank 7, the legend. Jake is 40, and he is not famous in the way that word usually means. He has no television show, no product line, no sponsorship from a tire company. What he has is a name that travels in the specific geography of car culture. The people who know. His builds show up at events not because he enters them, but because his clients do. And the people who recognize his work recognize it the way you recognize a handwriting. From the specific decisions, the tucked wiring, the subtle details, the evidence of someone who cared more than the job required. At rank 7, Jake walks through car meets and conversation pause slightly when he passes. Not dramatically, not loudly, just a subtle reorientation of attention that he has never fully gotten used to. And the red Civic is still in his garage, more modified now than it has ever been. And less modified than Jake originally intended, because Jake has learned something in 20 years of building that rank 1 Jake would not have believed. The best builds are not the ones that push the furthest from stock. They are the ones that know exactly when to stop and have the discipline to stop there. Here's the truth about every rank of car tuner life. Rank 1 is not about the car. It is about the beginning of paying attention to something in a way you have never paid attention to anything before. Rank 7 is not about the car either. It is about 20 years of problem solved, skills built, people met, late nights endured, and the specific satisfaction of knowing that the thing you do better than almost anyone around you. Not because you were born with talent, but because you cared enough to stay in the garage when it would have been easier to go inside. The $600 Honda is still there. It is not the same car Jake bought from the relieved man. Barely a single original component remains. But it is still the same car in every way that actually matters. The car that started everything, and the car that Jake will probably never finish, because finished is not the point. You have been decoded. If this video made you look at that project car in your garage differently, or made you remember why you started in the first place, subscribe to Money Decoder 3004 every single week. We decode the journeys that shape the lives most people are quietly living. Simply, honestly, and clearly. Drop a comment below. What rank car tuner are you right now? And what was the first modification you ever made? Tell me below. I read every single comment, and I will see you in the next decode.